The night was quiet at the old American train station. A long silver train stood waiting under soft yellow lights, its windows glowing like warm stars in the darkness. People moved slowly, as if time itself had become gentle. You stepped onto the platform and felt a strange calm in the air. No noise, no rush, only the soft sound of distant wind. A conductor in a dark blue uniform smiled and opened the door. Inside, the carriage was warm and peaceful. Soft seats, dim lights, and a gentle hum filled the space. You found your seat beside a large window. Outside, the station slowly faded into the night. The train gave a soft signal, a deep breath of metal and steam. Then slowly, it began to move. Click, clack, click, clack. The journey across America had begun, and everything already felt like a dream. The train rolled steadily into the American countryside. Outside your window, the city lights became smaller and smaller until they disappeared completely. Ahead lay open fields, resting beneath a blanket of moonlight. The world seemed slower here. Quiet farmhouses stood far apart, their porch lights glowing softly in the distance. Occasionally, a lonely barn appeared beside the tracks before fading into darkness. Inside the carriage, everything remained warm and comfortable. The gentle motion of the train felt soothing, almost like being rocked to sleep. Click, clack, click, clack. The rhythm never hurried. You rested your head against the window and watched the stars above the fields. The night stretched endlessly ahead. The train continued westward, carrying you deeper into peaceful silence and gentle dreams. The train moved deeper into the countryside as the moon climbed higher into the sky. Silver light covered the fields on both sides of the tracks. Rows of corn stood quietly in the night breeze, their leaves whispering softly to one another. Far in the distance, a windmill turned slowly beneath the stars. Everything felt calm. Everything felt safe. Inside the carriage, the lights were dim and golden. Most of the passengers had already fallen asleep. The train continued its steady rhythm. Click, clack, click, clack. You watched small farm roads cross the landscape and disappear into darkness. A few scattered lights glowed from distant homes. Then even those faded away. The endless fields stretched beneath the night sky as the train carried you gently toward deeper rest. The train continued through the peaceful night until a wide river appeared ahead. Moonlight shimmered across the water, turning its surface into a ribbon of silver. As the train crossed a long bridge, the sounds around you softened. Below, the river flowed slowly and quietly through the darkness. The stars reflected on the water like tiny floating lanterns. You watched gentle ripples drift across the surface and disappear into the night. Inside the carriage, everything felt warm and still. The train rocked gently from side to side. Click, click, click. The bridge seemed to stretch forever. Then, little by little, the far shore came closer. The train rolled onward, leaving the river behind and carrying you deeper into a calm, peaceful sleep. Not long after crossing the river, the train approached a small town resting beneath the stars. A few streetlights glowed along a quiet main street. The buildings were old and welcoming, their windows shining softly in the darkness. The train slowed as it passed through. For a moment, you could see a bakery, a bookstore, and a small diner with a single light still glowing inside. Everything seemed peaceful. No traffic, no noise, only the gentle presence of a town keeping watch through the night. Inside the carriage, the warm air felt comforting. The steady rhythm continued. Click, clack, click, clack. Soon the town slipped away behind you. Its lights faded into the distance as the train carried you onward through the calm American night. The little town disappeared behind the train, leaving only open land beneath the moonlit sky. The Midwest stretched endlessly in every direction. Wide fields, gentle hills, and quiet country roads rested peacefully in the darkness. From time to time, a cluster of trees appeared beside the tracks. Their shadows drifted past the window like silent travelers. Inside the carriage, the atmosphere remained calm and cozy. A soft lamp glowed above your seat, casting a warm circle of light. The train moved at a steady pace. Click, clack, click, clack. The familiar rhythm seemed to match your breathing. Outside, the stars sparkled across the vast sky. Nothing hurried. Nothing demanded attention. The sleeping Midwest rolled by quietly as the train carried you deeper into comfort, calm, and peaceful dreams. As the train traveled farther west, a gentle prairie wind moved across the open land. You could see the tall grasses swaying softly beneath the moonlight. The movement was slow and peaceful, like waves rolling across a quiet ocean. Above, countless stars filled the sky. They seemed brighter here, far away from busy cities and bright lights. Inside the carriage, everything felt wonderfully still. A few passengers slept peacefully beneath warm blankets. Others gazed quietly out their windows. The train continued its steady journey. Click, clack, click, clack. The sound blended with the soft hum of the engine. Outside, the endless prairie stretched toward the horizon. There was nothing to rush toward and nothing to leave behind. Only the calm night and the gentle movement of the train, carrying you onward. The prairie stretched quietly beneath the moonlit sky. As you looked out the window, a tall windmill appeared in the distance. It stood alone in the middle of a wide field, turning slowly in the gentle night breeze. Its silhouette moved calmly against a sky filled with stars. The train passed closer, and for a few moments, the windmill seemed to travel alongside you. Then, little by little, it drifted behind. Inside the carriage, the warmth and gentle motion felt comforting. The lamps glowed softly above the sleeping passengers. The wheels continued their familiar song. Click, clack, click, clack. You watched the windmill become smaller and smaller until it disappeared into darkness. Ahead, more quiet fields waited beneath the stars as the sleepy train carried you peacefully across America. The lonely windmill faded into the distance, and the night seemed to grow even quieter. Outside your window, the sky opened wide above the prairie. Thousands upon thousands of stars sparkled overhead. Some shone brightly, while others glimmered softly like tiny diamonds scattered across dark velvet. The moon hung peacefully above the horizon, watching over the sleeping countryside. Inside the train, the gentle warmth wrapped around you like a comfortable blanket. The carriage rocked softly from side to side. Click, clack, click, clack. The steady rhythm felt familiar now, almost comforting, almost magical. You gazed upward and imagined the stars slowly drifting with the train. The vast sky stretched endlessly above America, calm and beautiful, as the journey carried you deeper into quiet thoughts and peaceful dreams. As the hours passed, the flat prairie slowly began to change. Far ahead, dark shapes appeared along the horizon. At first, they looked like distant clouds resting beneath the stars. But mile by mile, they grew larger. The Rocky Mountains were waiting in the distance. Their peaks rose quietly into the moonlit sky, calm and timeless. The train continued toward them at an unhurried pace. Inside the carriage, everything remained peaceful. A soft glow filled the cabin, while the world outside drifted by. Click, clack, click, clack. The rhythm of the wheels echoed through the night. The mountains seemed to welcome the train closer with every passing mile. You watched their shadowy outlines grow clearer and felt a deep sense of calm as the journey continued westward. The Rocky Mountains no longer seemed distant. They now stood proudly beneath the stars, their slopes glowing faintly in the moonlight. The train left the open prairie behind and entered the gentle foothills. Rolling hills rose and fell beside the tracks. Small streams reflected the moon like ribbons of silver. Clusters of pine trees appeared more often now, filling the air with a feeling of quiet wilderness. Inside the carriage, the atmosphere remained warm and restful. The train climbed gradually, never rushing. Click, clack, click, clack. The familiar rhythm echoed softly through the cabin. Outside, the hills grew taller with every mile. The mountains waited ahead, calm and silent. You settled comfortably into your seat, watching the peaceful landscape unfold as the sleepy train continued its journey through the heart of the American West. The foothills slowly gave way to a vast pine forest. Tall trees stood on both sides of the tracks, their dark branches reaching toward the moonlit sky. As the train moved deeper into the forest, the world felt quieter than ever. The moonlight filtered through the pines, creating gentle patterns of silver and shadow on the ground. Every now and then, a small clearing appeared, revealing a blanket of stars above. Inside the carriage, the lights glowed softly. The air felt warm and peaceful. The train continued its steady climb. Click, clack, click, clack. The sound echoed gently among the trees. You watched the forest drift by, calm and endless. The tall pines seemed to stand guard over the night as the sleepy train carried you farther into the mountains and closer to deep, restful sleep. The pine forest began to open up as the train climbed higher into the mountains. Between the trees, a hidden mountain lake appeared for a brief moment. It was still and glass-like, reflecting the night sky perfectly. Stars shimmered on its surface as if the water and sky had become one. The train passed slowly along the edge of the valley, giving you a quiet glimpse of this hidden place. Inside the carriage, everything remained warm and still. The gentle motion of the train continued without interruption. Click, clack, click, clack. The lake slowly drifted out of view, replaced again by tall trees and dark mountain slopes. But the image stayed with you, calm, clear, peaceful. As the train continued upward, the mountains grew closer, and the night felt even more quiet and deep. The train began its steady climb into the heart of the Rocky Mountains. The tracks curved gently along the mountainside, rising higher with every mile. Below, valleys slowly disappeared into darkness, replaced by layers of shadowed peaks. The air outside felt colder, clearer, and more still. Inside the carriage, everything remained warm and safe. Soft light filled the space as passengers continued to rest quietly in their seats. Click, clack, click, clack. The wheels echoed softly through the mountains. Occasionally, the train passed through small tunnels carved into stone, where everything briefly turned silent and dark. Then, the night would open again, revealing vast mountain landscapes under the stars. You watched the journey upward with calm eyes, feeling the gentle motion carry you deeper into peaceful stillness. The train approached a long, dark tunnel carved deep into the mountain. Slowly, the bright night sky disappeared as the entrance swallowed the train whole. Inside, everything became quiet. No stars, no moonlight, only soft darkness and the gentle sound of movement. The wheels continued their steady rhythm, echoing lightly through the stone walls. Click, clack, click, clack. The sound felt distant now, like a memory drifting through sleep. Inside the carriage, the warm light remained steady, comforting you as the outside world faded completely. Time felt slower here, still, peaceful. Then, little by little, a faint glow appeared ahead. The tunnel's end grew closer, and the darkness began to soften. You waited calmly, feeling the train carry you forward through silence and into the promise of light once again. The tunnel slowly ended, and a soft glow of night returned. The train emerged high in the Rocky Mountains, surrounded by even taller peaks than before. Some of them were now covered with light snow, glowing faintly under the moonlight. The air outside looked colder and sharper, yet beautifully still. Inside the carriage, the warmth felt even more comforting by contrast. Soft light reflected off the windows as the train continued along the mountainside. Click, clack, click, clack. The rhythm of the wheels remained steady and calm. Below, deep valleys stretched into darkness. Above, the sky felt closer, filled with endless stars. You watched the snow-covered peaks pass slowly by, feeling completely safe and peaceful as the journey carried you through the quiet heart of the mountains. The train gently descended into a wide, frozen mountain valley. Snow covered the ground like a soft white blanket, untouched and glowing under the moon. Tall cliffs surrounded the valley, standing silent and still, like ancient guardians. The train moved carefully along the tracks, leaving a faint trail of warmth through the cold night air. Inside the carriage, everything felt safe and cozy. The soft golden light made the winter outside feel distant and calm. Click, clack, click, clack. The sound seemed softer now, almost like a whisper. Outside, frozen trees stood motionless, their branches dusted with snow. Not a single sound broke the stillness of the valley. Only the train moved. Only the night continued. And you, wrapped in quiet comfort, drifted deeper into calm as the journey through the frozen mountains slowly went on. As the train continued through the frozen valley, the night began to change very slowly. Not into day, but into something softer. A faint glow appeared on the horizon behind the mountains. It was the first hint of approaching dawn. The sky shifted from deep black to gentle shades of blue and silver. Snow-covered peaks began to reflect the soft light, glowing faintly like they were waking up quietly. Inside the carriage, nothing disturbed the peace. Warm light still filled the space, steady and comforting. Click, clack, click, clack. The train moved forward without hurry. Outside, shadows softened, and the world felt suspended between night and morning. You watched the sky change gently, feeling calm and weightless as the journey continued through this quiet, in-between moment. The train began its long descent from the mountains. Snow-covered peaks slowly faded behind you, replaced by rolling hills and open land once again. The air felt warmer as the elevation dropped. The soft colors of early dawn spread gently across the horizon, blending into the night sky that was still holding on. Inside the carriage, everything remained quiet and steady. Passengers slept peacefully as the train continued its journey forward. Click, clack, click, clack. The sound was familiar now, almost like a lullaby. Outside, the frozen valleys were gone, replaced by wide spaces and distant trees. The mountains no longer surrounded you, but their calm silence still lingered in your mind. You felt peaceful, as if part of the journey had settled inside your thoughts forever. As the train moved farther away from the mountains, the land slowly opened again. Wide plains returned, stretching endlessly beneath the soft morning glow. The first light of dawn spread gently across the fields, turning the sky into pale shades of gold and blue. Everything felt calm and new, yet still deeply quiet. Inside the carriage, the warmth remained steady. The gentle motion of the train never changed. Click, clack, click, clack. The rhythm continued like a soft heartbeat. Outside, small clusters of trees and quiet farmlands began to reappear. A few distant houses stood still in the early morning light, their windows dim and peaceful. The world felt like it was slowly waking, while you remained wrapped in the soft comfort of the train's endless journey. The first true sunrise began to rise gently over the American plains. Soft, golden light spread across the fields, slowly pushing away the last traces of night. The sky turned warm shades of orange, pink, and pale blue. Everything outside looked calm and glowing, as if the world itself was breathing slowly awake. Inside the carriage, the warm light from the lamps mixed softly with the morning glow coming through the windows. Click, clack, click, clack. The train continued its steady journey without rush or change. Outside, dew-covered grass sparkled briefly as the sun touched the land. Small barns and fences appeared in the distance, glowing softly in the new light. You watched the sunrise unfold quietly, feeling peaceful, still, and completely wrapped in the gentle motion of the train. As the golden sunrise spread across the land, a soft morning mist began to rise over the fields. It moved slowly between the trees and across the open farmland, like a gentle wave of silence. Everything felt blurred, quiet, and peaceful. The train continued forward through this misty world. Outside the window, shapes appeared and disappeared, barns, fences, and distant trees fading in and out of view. Inside the carriage, the warmth remained steady and comforting. Click, clack, click, clack. The rhythm of the wheels stayed unchanged. The mist outside softened the entire landscape, making it feel like the world was floating in a dream. There was no rush, no noise, only calm movement forward. You watched the mist drift past, feeling deeply relaxed as the sleepy train continued its endless journey across America. The train passed through small towns that were just beginning to wake. Soft morning light touched the rooftops, and a few windows slowly brightened as people started their day. Smoke gently rose from chimneys, drifting into the calm sky. Everything moved at a slow, peaceful pace. A bakery sign flickered on, and a quiet street slowly came alive, without rush or noise. From the train, it all looked distant and gentle, like a world unfolding in slow motion. Inside the carriage, the comfort never changed. Warm air, soft light, and steady motion. Click, clack, click, clack. The familiar sound continued like a soft lullaby in the background of the morning. As each town slipped behind you, its peaceful beginning became just another quiet memory in the long journey across America. The land began to change once more as the train moved farther west. Open fields slowly gave way to rolling hills and distant coastal air. The breeze felt different now, softer, cooler, carrying the faint scent of the ocean. Everything seemed to be guiding the journey toward its final destination. Inside the carriage, the peaceful atmosphere remained unchanged. Passengers rested quietly as the train continued its steady motion. Click, clack, click, clack. The sound felt familiar, like a memory that had been with you all along. Outside, the morning light grew brighter, reflecting off rivers, trees, and quiet countryside roads. The world felt calm and complete, as if every part of the journey had gently led to this moment of arrival near the endless western coast. The train curved gently through the final stretch of land before the coast. The air became cooler and filled with a quiet salt breeze. Then slowly, the ocean appeared. At first, just a thin line on the horizon, where sky and water met in a soft blur. But as the train moved closer, the Pacific Ocean opened wide before you. Endless water stretched across the world, calm and deep under the morning light. Waves rolled gently toward the shore, their rhythm steady and soothing. Inside the carriage, everything felt still and peaceful. Click-clack, click-clack. The train continued along the coastline, now moving beside the vast ocean. Seagulls drifted in the distance, and small coastal towns appeared like quiet paintings along the water's edge. The journey felt almost complete, as if the entire country had slowly led you here to this peaceful ending. The train continued along the edge of the Pacific, passing through quiet coastal towns bathed in soft morning light. Small houses sat on gentle hills, their rooftops glowing warmly under the rising sun. Palm trees and tall pines swayed lightly in the ocean breeze, as if greeting the new day. The streets below were calm and nearly empty, with only a few early walkers near the shoreline. Everything felt slow, peaceful, and distant from time. Inside the carriage, the atmosphere remained warm and still. Click, clack, click, clack. The sound of the train blended softly with the distant rhythm of ocean waves. Outside, the sea sparkled in the sunlight, and the coastline stretched endlessly forward. Each passing town felt like a quiet farewell as the journey neared its final moment along the vast American coast. The train slowly began to reduce its speed as it reached the final coastal station. The sound of the wheels grew softer, almost fading into the background of the ocean breeze. Outside, the Pacific stretched endlessly, calm and shining under the morning sun. Waves rolled gently onto the shore, creating a steady rhythm that matched the feeling inside the carriage. Everything felt complete. The journey across America was coming to its final moment. Inside, the warm light was gentle and peaceful. No one spoke. No one needed to. Click, clack, click, clack. Then slower and softer, until finally the train came to a calm stop. Silence filled the space, not empty, but peaceful. You sat quietly, surrounded by stillness, as the long journey ended exactly where the ocean meets the sky. The train slowly began to reduce its speed as it reached the final coastal station. The sound of the wheels grew softer, almost fading into the background of the ocean breeze. Outside, the Pacific stretched endlessly, calm and shining under the morning sun. Waves rolled gently onto the shore, creating a steady rhythm that matched the feeling inside the carriage. Everything felt complete. The journey across America was coming to its final moment. Inside, the warm light was gentle and peaceful. No one spoke. No one needed to. Click, clack, click, clack. Then slower and softer, until finally the train came to a calm stop. Silence filled the space, not empty, but peaceful. You sat quietly, surrounded by stillness, as the long journey ended exactly where the ocean meets the sky. The train no longer moved, but the feeling of motion still remained. Outside the window, the ocean continued its endless rhythm, waves gently arriving and retreating under the morning light. Inside the carriage, everything was perfectly still. The warmth, the quiet, the soft light, all blending into one peaceful moment. It felt like time itself had slowed down completely. There was nowhere else to go, nothing else to reach, only calm, only rest. The memory of the journey lingered softly in your mind. The fields, the rivers, the mountains, the desert, and the ocean. All of it now felt distant, like a dream fading into gentle silence. Click, clack. Even that sound was gone now. Only breathing remained, slow, soft, peaceful. And in that stillness, the long train across America became nothing more than a quiet dream carried into sleep. The ocean outside slowly fades, as if it is no longer something you are looking at, but something you are inside of. The waves no longer feel separate. They feel like gentle breathing, in and out, in and out. The world becomes softer. The train, the station, the land behind you, all of it drifts away like mist dissolving into light. There is no direction anymore, no beginning, no end, only the feeling of floating. Somewhere far away, the idea of America still exists. The fields, the rivers, the mountains, the long tracks stretching across a continent. But now it is distant, like a story someone once told you. Your thoughts slow down even more. Each one fades before it can form completely. And in that fading space, there is only comfort, only silence, only the quiet feeling of being carried gently through a dream that never needs to end.